There has been a pretty hot debate recently on if Jalen Hurts or Cam Newton is the better all time quarterback. Now, although I do think that is an intriguing question, Jalen Hurts is not even halfway done his career, barring a severe injury. So I'm actually going to change it and go to a different NFC East quarterback and ask the kind of expanded version of the question, the further we're getting closer to the real grit of the question. And I'm going to ask, is Eli Manning a better quarterback than Cam Newton? Now, it depends on what you value. I have mentioned in countless videos that winning matters the most. After winning comes, and this is for quarterbacks, it obviously depends on what position you play, but if you're the quarterback, winning comes first. If you win, I don't really care how you do it. I really don't care how you do it because you got to mold to the team, the situation, etc. Now, if you lose, obviously there are some things that can factor in and make you better than other people who lose. If you score a lot of points, if your offense is averaging 30 points per game and you're not turning the ball over, you can't. Joe Burrow, for example, in the 2024 season, I don't think anybody would say he was a bad quarterback even though he missed the playoffs. So, and stats to a degree also matter. I mean, if both the guys have similar wins, then stats can kind of be a tiebreaker depending on the situation. Now, I will quickly touch on the stats that I think are important for a quarterback to get somewhat of a gist of it. I think the most important stat is going to be the points per game that they're leading their offense to. But in terms of personal stats, here's what we'll get into. So Eli Manning, stat that I care about a lot is yards per attempt. He was at 7 over his career. And Cam Newton was at 7.2. Now, point 2, it's something, but it's not a big difference. Now, the touchdown interception ratio is pretty important. If you're scoring a lot of points, but you're turning the ball over a ton and giving the other team a short field, then that obviously is hurting your team's chance at winning. Eli Manning had, or where is it at? Where is it at? 366 touchdowns, 244 interceptions. Cam Newton was at 194 to 123, both of which are pretty even. Cam Newton has a slightly higher touchdown to interception percentage, which is shown in his passer rating. Cam Newton's passer rating in his career is 85.2, and Eli Manning's is 84.1. So once again, the yards per attempt, pretty similar. Passer rating, which is largely factored in by touchdown interception ratio, once again, pretty similar. I don't think we can draw a conclusion from that. Now, I had mentioned win percentage. I do believe wins are a quarterback stat, and although it doesn't tell the full story, it tells a lot. Eli Manning was exactly 500 in his career, so he won exactly half of his games in the regular season, and Cam Newton won 51.7. Now, 1.7 doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually 1.7, that is a over an entire career that's it's a decently good swing with how clustered everyone's going to be around 50. So now what I think is most important here is obviously winning matters, but winning the big game, winning the Super Bowl, which consequently means winning the games leading up to that. That's what really matters. Winning in the regular season gets you a chance to be a playoff performer, but at the end of the day, if you're not getting it done, it doesn't matter that much. Now, Cam Newton, we obviously know he had the infamous MVP season where he made the Super Bowl and went up against Eli's brother, Peyton Manning, and lost. And I don't think he played poorly, but Eli Manning, this is where Eli Manning has the major edge. He has 2 Super Bowl rings, one in 2007 against the best team of all time in Tom Brady's Patriots, the iconic David Tyree catch. And then again against the Patriots, who weren't as good as they were in 2007, but still a pretty good team. But here are his stats. 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, and that was across 4 games. Passer rating of 95.7. Now, that's not crazy. I don't think that's an insane stat line. 7.2 yards per attempt, 213 yards per game. But here's the thing, and that was in the first Super Bowl run. You have to mold into what your team needs out of you. So you could say, and we're going to touch on Cam's rushing ability because obviously that's the major elephant in the room. Aside from Eli's Super Bowl wins, those are two elephants. Although you might say Cam Newton was more talented, which sure, he's definitely a better athlete, and they obviously have similar passing stats. Eli Manning, he has higher lows and lower highs. And with that defense, that's what you needed to get the job done. So he fit better on that Giants team. I'm not saying Eli would have won the Super Bowl if he was in Cam's place. I don't think he would have. But I'm not sure Cam would have won the Super Bowl with the Giants. I don't know if Cam was consistent enough. I think he might make too many mistakes when it's needed the most. So Eli's first Super Bowl win and the second Super Bowl win where they really got hot. 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, 103 passer rating, 304 yards per game. He was on a tear, and that was in 2011, again beating Tom Brady. And I mean, I think personally, from myself, I think that's got to give him the edge. Look, Cam Newton in his Super Bowl run, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, pass rating of 87, and then he also had the fumbles, obviously. I wouldn't say it was a bad performance. I think he played okay in that playoff run. I mean, he had a lot of yards, 250 passing, and then he had quite a few on the ground as well. But, I mean, a 3-2 touchdown interception ratio, passing-wise. His play, 58% completion percentage. His play went down in the playoffs. So, now, obviously, the elephant in the room is Cam's rushing ability. And I think that helps teams win the football games a lot. So I do think that matters. But I still got to give the edge to Eli. It might sound crazy. There might be some people that totally disagree. And I understand that. I by no means am saying from a pure talent perspective, if we put him in the lab, Cam is probably more powerful throwing the football. He's obviously a massive threat rushing the football. I still am leaning Eli. I'm going to lean Eli. That's just kind of how I evaluate. I evaluate winning, especially winning the big game twice against the GOAT, and stopping the undefeated season. I think that is preferential over Cam's added rushing ability. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the caption/description. Stay tuned for more.